Next week on Thursday, Chapter 35. Really, Gloria? I met David with a volley of words when he walked in through the door. He listened with a shattered look and tight jaw. We ate dinner in grim silence, and the twins wandered off to do their homework. They couldn't grasp the convoluted details, though they understood that things were badly awry. I was unable to shake off the constant, needling sense of guilt, and blamed myself for plunging us all into this endless ordeal. I pulled out the hefty legal file and set it on the kitchen table. The vinyl binder fell open at a wrinkled sheet of paper covered in spidery ballpoint scrawl. My heart did a somersault as words swam towards my dazed eyes. Harold's handwriting. I read, "I have 2 lawyers starting soon. I will prepare and attend at no charge, one of whom I coach will speak, and I will sit with you. They would charge. I would be both coach and spectator. If you first quit, they would assess their account for 60 to 70,000. Don't first quit." There was more. The moment in the office resurrected itself. I had just told Harold we wished to close the case and walk away. He reached for a handful of used paper from the recycling bin, picked up a pen, hunched in his chair, and wrote laboriously. He held the sheets for me to read, then tossed them out. I bent down to retrieve the pages from the waste paper basket, folded and slipped them into my handbag. They went into my legal file the moment I got home. I had forgotten all about the incident until now. His words, his handwriting. Providential foresight. David dialed the Wiseman residence. "Gloria Wiseman, please." "Hello, Gloria. How are you?" He paused to listen. "Thank you for coming to visit Selina this afternoon." Cool, detached, pleasant. "Selina told me about the bill," he said evenly. "It seems rather excessive. There has hardly been any activity on our file for the past year. It doesn't make any sense, you know." Gloria's voice floated over the phone. I strained my ears to hear. David shook his head. "I have been an accountant for more than half my life, and I handle lawyers' bills for my company." Gloria interrupted. He let her have her say, then went on. "Oh, I know what I'm talking about. We spent $20,000 during the first 2.5 years of this action. It was during this time that there was a lot of preparation, research, and several court appearances." He paused again for her response. His voice turned stony. "But Harold wouldn't let us close the file. He was sure there would be some kind of settlement, and he assured us he wouldn't bill us any further until there was a favorable outcome. We've spent so much money, and we've had nothing to show for it." David held the receiver slightly away from his ear when Gloria raised her voice. "He instructed me to bill Selina on the morning of his death," she said. Indignation rose in me like bile. David was unperturbed. "We have his instructions on file in his own handwriting. He advises us not to give up. He states he would sit in court with Selina free of charge." A moment's silence at the other end, then a brisk barrage of questions. "Yes," David said, "he advised us not to close the case." She was curt. "Would you have jumped off a cliff if he told you to?" "Really, Gloria?" David answered dispassionately. "No, but he was the lawyer, and we are ordinary lay people. We trusted and admired him. We are willing to pay what's within reason, but this bill, makes no sense at all. The lawsuit has been a great drain on us, and if we have to pay this last amount, we're going to be wiped out." "Oh, I certainly wouldn't want that," Gloria drawled. "Don't lose sleep over it. The accountant has still not made up the bill." The receiver hit the cradle with a click. His mask of feigned indifference slid away. David's face was like a thundercloud. I wished it had occurred to me to pick up the extension. I could have listened in on the entire conversation. 2 days later, I had a dream. I was taking a walk with a friend. The day was foggy, dreary and dank. There were sprawling houses, grey in the gloom, on either side of the street. On impulse, I turned to my companion and said, "Would you like to meet my friend Harold Wiseman?" Before I knew it, we were in the basement of a home. I seemed to know that it was Harold's. I was aware that we had broken in and were trespassing. A brown painted ladder, attached to the main floor by hinges, led down to the basement. As we stepped off the last rung, the hinges broke off and the ladder became detached from its hold. I heard a sound and saw the figure of a woman looking down from the floor above. I was apprehensive. We were intruders. Would she call the police? The shadow woman reached out and handed me a hammer. I could see the nails still protruding from the top of the ladder. I hammered with all my might to reattach it to the upper floor. I couldn't succeed. Harold appeared from a dim corridor to my right. A deluge of joy swept through me when I recognized my friend. He looked decades younger, strong and vigorous, brimming over with life. His hair was longer, thicker, with barely any grey in it. He was attired in black dress pants and a grey golf shirt with dark flecks. His shirt wasn't tucked into the waistband. It hung over his pants. David beamed when he saw me. My heart was ready to burst with gladness. I turned to introduce my companion, who became coy and tongue-tied. She was overcome to be in the presence of the wonderful Mr. Wiseman she had heard so much about. I recalled the dream the instant I awoke. My heart sang as waves of sweet peace surged through me. A sense of "this is so much more than a dream" hung all over me like a surreal mist. David stirred. I opened my eyes, reluctant to emerge from the blissful state of euphoria I found myself in. "I dreamt of Harold," I said. "He's okay. He's at peace. He's well again." I phoned Catherine shortly after David left for work. Choking with emotion, I recounted the details of my dream. Catherine wept with me. "Oh, Selena, I asked God to give you a dream to set your heart at rest, so you'd know he was okay." The tears I cried were laced with joy. To be continued.